All right, Elizabeth.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to St. John's University Black History Month 2022 celebration, the theme being the power rests in our hands. My name is Elizabeth Ponce de Leon, pronouns she, her, hers, and I'm the Assistant Director of Culture and Identity-Based Services for the Office of Multicultural Affairs. Today, we are joined by Director and Founder of the Urban Legacy Foundation, Shane Osenloy, who will moderate today's panel on the powerful ways to stay wealthy, a money-generating activities panel. We're also joined by panelist Kirrick Wise. A friendly reminder, this is the university's 4th event in the Black History Month event series. Our office is working in collaboration with various other departments across the university who have organized different theme events to celebrate, pay tribute, and honor the rich and diverse culture, legacy, traditions, histories, and contributions made by Black individuals and communities. We encourage you to visit our website at stjohns.edu/OMA to explore more of the amazing events happening this month. Before we begin, I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. As we continue to celebrate Black History Heritage Month, we reflect on the interconnected histories of Indigenous and Black individuals and communities throughout this country and globally. St. John's University occupies the ancestral lands of the Matinecock, Rockaway, Lenape, and Canarsie peoples. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth, which is that every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed to their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hopes of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Please join us in giving a voice to these truths at every opportunity. Quick summary about the series. Today's series is part of a 3-part series organized in partnership with student leaders and expertise from the Urban Legacy Foundation. Part 1, held in November, centered on the foundational knowledge on the concepts of wealth and generational wealth. Part 2, which we're hosting today, discusses money-generating activities. Mr. Osenloy invites guests and panelists to share their knowledge, skills, and activities used to generate and hold wealth. Part 3, to be held in March, focuses on Black women entrepreneurs and their journeys to wealth. And a little bit more about the foundation. The Urban Legacy Foundation are a collective of social entrepreneurs who recognize the impact of the Black wealth crisis as a root cause of various racial issues. The ULF provides skilling, foster entrepreneurship, and facilitate all forms of property ownership. This means providing training courses, creating opportunities for Black entrepreneurs to grow, and facilitating the exchange of information to propel people on their journey to securing more property. These are the wealth generating activities. A little bit more about the founder. Shane Osenloy is the guest moderator, founder, and the founder of the Urban Legacy Foundation. Shane Osenloy is the president and executive director of the Urban Legacy Foundation. With some friends, he founded the Urban Legacy Foundation in September of 2019. In the summer of 2019, Mr. Osenloy turned a venting session about entrepreneurship stress into a nonprofit dedicated to Black excellence. His data and solution-driven approach comes from his research experience and his startup consulting firm, SingularityHQ.com. Osenloy's goal is to build Black wealth and address social issues. Today, we also have with us Kirrick Wise, social activist and founder of clothing brand Kool for Life. Kirrick Wise is a social activist and clothing designer who hails from Brooklyn, New York. He started his clothing brand in 2015, Kool for Life, which represents a lifestyle movement that promotes positivity, love, and unity, and respect. Kirrick's vision to diversify his designs are rooted in his mission to encourage his community to be artistically expressive by stepping outside of their comfort zone and working toward being in alignment with the best version of themselves. And with that, I hand it over to Shane and Kirrick.
You're muted.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me okay. Kirrick, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
What's going on, brother?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Good afternoon. So I just want to set up everything for everyone to understand what we're going to be doing today. I just want to ask you some questions about your entrepreneurship journey. As we discussed before, our goal is to help people understand what resources are out there, what opportunities are out there, and more specifically, how to pursue them, and how to just go through the nuance, the daily activity of being an entrepreneur. And, you know, as soon as we conceived of this panel, you were one of the first people we thought of because of your energy. So, you know, I love that energy. I want everyone to see it. And I just want to talk about your journey and experience as an entrepreneur. And we're going to dig into the weeds a little bit to understand like what the process is, because the process is what's missing from so much of our education. So
absolutely.
So if you're prepared for that, and then afterwards we're going to do a presentation. Hopefully you could stick around. I know, just so everyone knows, right now Kirrick is at the Barclays Center, and he's working out a deal with them. So I'll let you talk about that first.
Absolutely. Well, I didn't get there yet. I'm giving you guys and ladies my undivided attention. I'm currently at my showroom within Brooklyn, New York. And it's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure for you to have me. Thank you so much, Shane. And thank you so much to St. John's University. I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. So let's start from the top. How old is your brand? What's the name of your brand? I'll let you go from the top with everything. When did you start everything up?
So the name of my brand is called Kool for Life, and that's Kool for Life with a K. That's KOOLFORLIFE. I started Kool for Life in 2015, and my goal was to create a clothing brand which I could use as a form of expression of positivity, unconditional love, respect, and unity for all people. Kool for Life, I created Kool for Life through a lens of social work, but it also connects with fashion and with you just bringing your ideas to life. I started out with just making t-shirts in the first couple of years. Then in about year 3, I taught myself how to screen print, and I started to learn how to design and how to really understand the dynamics of fashion, because I have my master's, I have 3 degrees in social work. So I went to school like for social work and for human services and to teach myself the study of people. So everything that I have learned through fashion and through building Kool for Life over the last 6 years have been self-taught. So in year 3, I said, you know what, let me teach myself how to screen print, kind of so I could cut out the middleman. And for all my young fashion designers out there, when you're working toward building your brand and you're getting your ideas out there, a lot of the time, if you don't know how to create on your own, you have to go to a company that does. So, you know, teach yourself. If you're thinking about going out there to start a clothing brand or a t-shirt brand, teach yourself how to screen print. You know what I mean? Teach yourself how to do vinyl. Teach yourself about all the elements of designing so that you know what best fits you. For me, it was screen printing, because screen printing has been around for hundreds of years, and many different people have used screen printing in many different ways outside of fashion and clothes. You can use screen printing on images, on bags, you know, on canvases. So it's a lot of different ways that you could bring your vision to life. So in year 3, after I taught myself how to screen print, the next step was just, you know, mastering that craft and really getting good at it. And in about year 4, I said, you know what? I need a different effect to Kool for Life. And I saw that tie-dye was really in. So I said, you know what? I went on YouTube and I studied how to tie-dye. But when I went on YouTube and I studied how to tie-dye, I didn't want to, if everything about Kool for Life everything about Kool for Life is about being your authentic self. It's about living out your dreams. It's about inspiring others to do the same. So when I wanted to tie-dye, everything has to have a Kool for Life effect. So I can't tie-dye like other brands. I can't tie-dye like the people on YouTube. So again, just like I had to teach myself how to screen print, I had to go now and teach myself how to tie-dye. And I didn't just, it's like I kind of mastered tie-dyeing. And now I have screen print, tie-dyeing, vinyl. I added in also DTG, which is direct to garment. So I have a jean jacket collection that I have right now, and I use artists. I use people like Malcolm X and Angela Davis, and pictures of Basquiat's with titles like most kings get their heads cut off. Shout out to my brother Robert Newman from Harlem, New York. But again, the goal for Kool for Life was for me to teach myself all the different components for me to be able to design my own clothes. And then after I finished learning how to design my own clothes, then I had to learn how to market. Then I had to learn about colors. Then I had to learn about the business acronym, right? Because your creative perspective and how you create and your business your business perspective is two different entities, right? So for all my young entrepreneurs, be creative. Indulge into that creativity, jump into the ocean of your dreams. But at the same time, understanding the business and the logistics of the business. For example, one of my most famous designs is I'm So Brooklyn. When I brought out I'm So Brooklyn and about 2.5 years ago, I didn't know that I was going to be able to trademark it, right? So when you're dealing with designs in fashion, one of the main things is trademarks. It's all about your intellectual property. And when you're dealing with slogans and artwork and designs, your goal is to get it trademarked, right? You want a federal trademark from USPTO. Look that up. USPTO, right? It doesn't get any higher than that. That's the federal trademark. So when I came out with I'm So Brooklyn, I didn't have a trademark yet. I put out a couple of designs, and my first week I sold 150 pieces. I was like, oh my God, this is one of the best designs I ever came out with. Shout out to Brooklyn. So then I said, okay, let me look on USPTO and see if it's trademarked. And it wasn't. So I trademarked I'm So Brooklyn, and that allowed me to have one of the best designs that Kool for Life ever came out with. That's also the reason why I'm able to barter this deal right now, which I'm working on diligently to get I'm So Brooklyn in the Barclays Center, downtown Brooklyn, where the Nets play at. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're into fashion, before you think about your design getting super big, make sure you do the work of trademarking that design. It's only going to cost you about $200 to $250. When you trademark your design, you give yourself protection. It's no different if you was a musician or a rapper or if you did R&B and you was a singer. The only way to protect your music is through you owning your masters. If you don't own your masters, that means somebody else owns it, right? So everything has intellectual property. If you were into like coming up with inventions, like you came up with something that can help clean your window or something, that your household, you know how people got the big windows in their house? Say you came up with a design that can help clean the windows. What you would use to protect that is something called a patent. A patent. Am I saying it right? Shane, a patent. Like a patent. Yeah, excuse me, a patent.
A patent.
Get it
That's
out.
fine.
And that patent will help you protect yourself so somebody else can't come and make what you already made. So with I'm So Brooklyn, I own the federal trademark to that. Can't another designer or company can't put I'm So Brooklyn on a piece of clothing and sell it. So for all my young entrepreneurs out there, please protect yourself, focus on your intellectual property. And I hope I got to answering the question, Shane.
No, definitely. And I wanted people to understand your energy as well, because you have so much to offer with that, because you put the nuance of doing business in a very exciting way. And we were on a call earlier today and I was like, oh my God, I want him to keep this energy for later, but I didn't even say it because I knew you had it. No, you definitely answered the question. So you started your business in 2015. You learned how to screen print around 2018. You got into the tie dyeing around 2019, and you learned your own individual way to make it a part of your brand, which is also a part of differentiating your brand. So that's something important for people to walk away with as well. You know, you could do the same thing a little differently and really like earmark your own brand for and distinguish your own brand for what you're trying to do. So that's excellent. What made you come up with the I'm So Brooklyn concept? And you know I want that Basquiat jacket. So
well, when I first started out Kool for Life in 2015, there's like 4 different ways that you can make t-shirts and put designs on t-shirts. You could do vinyl, which is like the most basic way. You could do screen printing. You could do DTG, which is direct to garment, and you could do sublimation. All of those different variations will allow you to put any type of design on a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, or a hoodie. When my first t-shirt had Kool for Life on the front of the shirt and it had a picture of the beach on the back, it cost me $25 to make that shirt, and I had to sell the shirt for $50. The first week, when I first started my business, first and foremost, I thought that I was cool. I am Kool for Life, right? So I'm selling these shirts. The first day I'm getting all of these shirts sold. The first 3 weeks, I could not sell those shirts for $50. All my friends was like, this is too much money. Who are you? You just started. And one of the things that I remember them saying was, you need more designs. Like, you want us all to buy this one design. And it doesn't work like that, right? So I had to get back into my creativity. So I started coming out with different slogans that were aligned with my clothing brand, Kool for Life. So say the next slogan would have been loyalty is a lifestyle. Then I came out with hate will destroy the world, love will save it. Then I came out with put yourself on, because you shouldn't be waiting for anybody to put you on. You should put yourself on. Then I came out with don't chase the bag, be the bag, or hustle and motivate, or loyalty is a lifestyle. I'm So Brooklyn. Then the I'm So Brooklyn turned into people asking me to make I'm So Jamaica, I'm So Queens, I'm So Antigua. So that turned into a whole different monster. But my consumer gave me the ability to create more, because I didn't want everybody to feel like I was trying to put them in one box. And another thing that made me grow my business was, this is why it's important for you to teach yourself, okay, it doesn't matter. Anybody on this call, if you want to make money off your craft, you have to master it. If anybody's telling you that you can make money off your craft and you only have a certain amount of information off the craft, yes, you might make money, but you're going to get to a point where you need more intel. And if you don't have it, that's where you will fall off the cliff. So if you're not making money off your craft, I need you to ask yourself, have you put your 10,000 hours in? Have you mastered your craft? Have you worked diligently and consistently 7 days a week throughout the month, throughout the years, so that you know more than the average person knows in whatever it is that you're saying that you want to do? Until you master your craft, it's going to be very hard for you to make money off your craft. So I'm going to give you one of my techniques. Somebody asked me the other day, does Kool for Life have any competition? And I said humbly no. Why? It's because this. How I set my business up is I give my consumer the option to come up with an exclusive design or exclusive colors and design base within the realm of Kool for Life. So you might come to me and say, I want to, I'm So Brooklyn, but I was on your website and I only see navy blue, gray, and black. And I'm going to say, absolutely. But I can also make you whatever colors that you have in mind. So they might say, you know what? I want a pink, orange, and yellow. Guess what? We're going to go back to me mastering my skill set. I don't have that on my website. I might not even have that in my showroom, but I have the capabilities and the skill set to go and make it and give it to my consumer. So you can't necessarily come to Kool for Life and say, I want you to make the sky is blue and put it on my sweatshirt, because that's not a Kool for Life design. I'm branding myself. I'm not a screen printer. I'm a fashion designer. And I'm a fashion designer that created a lifestyle brand. So if you want loyalty as a lifestyle, but you have some sneakers that might be yellow, pink, and orange, I can make those for you. And that gives my consumer the exclusivity of having something that somebody else don't have. But guess what it still is? It's Kool for Life. So when you master your craft, it gives you options, because the average person that has a successful clothing brand, they might know a few celebrities. They'll go to a manufacturer, they'll get about 3 or 4 designs made. Maybe they might get 50, maybe they might get 300, maybe they might get 1,000. they are held to that order until they get it off. If they don't know how to screen print and to do the designing, you can't do anything until you take that person more money and they give you another design. Me, with Kool for Life, I can order something from the manufacturer and get 1,000 pieces, and then somebody could go on my website and ask for something custom, and I can still make it for them simultaneously. So you have to give yourself as many options as possible as an entrepreneur. And the best way for you to succeed is to master your craft, because you got to know that most entrepreneurs are in it for one reason and one reason only: to make money. There are a few entrepreneurs out there that's in it for their passion and for the inspiration of their craft to inspire others. So if you're in it for your passion and the inspiration, you're going to be in a whole different ball game, because again, you're not just focused on making money. You're focused on getting your dreams and your light to the world. And you're going to do that by any means necessary. So I say this to all my young people on this call. If you're thinking about being an entrepreneur and you want to put your money where your mouth is and you want to invest in yourself, I would say to you, think about something that you can do that you would, if you had $10 million in the bank and you never had to go work for nobody in your life, what would you wake up and do every day? That answer will give you the blueprint of what business you should start. You shouldn't start a business for money purposes, because eventually it's going to get boring, it's going to get stressful, and you're not going to remember what you're in it for. But see, when you start your business with your passion and your love, that's going to give you the energy to stick it out when times get hard. So when adversity knocks you off your feet, when things don't go your way, when your friends, your family, and your community is like, I don't really care about what you're doing, you are going to have the mental fortitude to stick it out. You know how many no's I heard? You know how many people didn't let me in their stores? You know how many people told me the stuff that I had was too much? You know how many people told me that the clothing market was saturated and I should go in another direction? You know what I told those people? I'm Kool for Life. And I made it happen in year 6. I'm still here. And I'm here to inspire these young people. I'm here to inspire anybody that want to be inspired, because Kool for Life means that if you can see success and you can feel proud of me, then you should see success in you, and you should feel proud of you. And all I need you to do is step outside your comfort zone so that you can grow. All the no's I heard, all the naysayers, all the haters, they are food for thought. All they do is inspire me to be better. I appreciate all the no's. I appreciate all the people that tried to derail me, because all it did was make me sharpen my edges. So now I got complete belief in self. Now I know that I can manifest any reality that I put my mind to. Now I know that while I'm manifesting my reality, I'm inspiring others to do the same. And I wouldn't be able to inspire you to do the same if I gave up.
My God. I'm so glad you're here right now, because this is exactly what we need to hear. There's so much to unpack, but just for anybody taking notes, I just want to top line some of the key points that you had. And then I want to ask you another question. First, it was listening to your market. You know, we need more designs. We need to see more than just the Kool for Life, but keep your Kool for Life brand going. You know what I mean? So listening to your market, when people talk about supply and demand, that's demand for everybody taking notes. Your skills give you versatility. So, you know, when you come out with a bunch of designs and you have a bunch of inventory, but somebody has a custom order for you, or another organization wants to come and place an order with you, you have that base skill. So you don't have to go outsource. So you don't have to go put up the upfront cost for somebody that has the skill, you know, when you have it, you know. And that goes to what our parents talk about with getting your education, and something I'm going to talk about later with what are you getting your education for. So I'm so glad that you said that. Passion gives you persistence. I have experienced that as well as an entrepreneur. I'm experiencing it now in the nonprofit space, which is why I need your energy around. I think I'm thankful for having Asia on my team, because there's so many people that bring that energy and have that passion. And, you know, you got to find people that have it with you, because there's some hard days. So I like that you brought up the fact that you have to be passionate about something and get through all the naysayers, to get through all the hurdles, the gatekeepers, the obstacles, the roadblocks. Like, those are real things. There's a date and a timestamp to all of that, and you got to get over that. And I want to congratulate you also for making it to year 6, because there's a certain amount of businesses that fail within their first year. It's like 50% of all businesses. Then by year 5, it's 70%. You know what I mean? So when you make it past year 5 and you're on your way to year 10, those are important hurdles that you got over. So I'm super impressed, and I'm reading from the comments that people are as well. What I want to ask you is, so you have the Basquiat, you have the Malcolm X, you have different designs that you put on your jacket. What made you want to co-brand? What made you want to work with different artists? And when did that get started? Give us the details of how those relationships got started.
Okay, I want to give some clarity too. So, because if all my fashion, if you have fashion designers on there, potential people that want to start their clothing brand, I don't want you to misconstrue what I said. It's not about coming out with a lot of designs, right? It's about staying in the realm of the brand that you're building, right? So all the designs that I have are a compilation, right? So say, for example, it's like a portrait. So I'm not coming out with new designs every week. I might not have came out with a new design for the last 2-3 years, for the last 2 years outside of I'm So Brooklyn, or another design that I have. Because in the fashion world, building your design up is equivalent to building a single up in the music industry. So you could say, I've been in the music industry for a certain amount of time, and I want to get this single on the radio. Every music artist that you hear have a hot single or a hit single on the radio, that song was out 3 or 4 years previous. If you go back 3 or 4 years, you might not have heard of the artist, you might not have heard of the song, but the song was available for you to listen to. It took about 3-4 years for them to build up the momentum and the buzz for you to pay attention to it. So you got to think about, every time you come out with a new design, you got to add momentum, you got to add strategy, you got to add consistency to that design. So if you coming up with 10 new designs every week, it's like coming up with 10 new singles every week. I don't know too many artists that do that, because you won't be able to maintain that. So I put life into my designs. It's like I'm Geppetto and they Pinocchio. I put life into them. And that requires about 2 or 3 years where I got to put life into it. I got to give the design a narrative. I got to give it a beginning, a middle, or end. I got to give it the art to it. I got to give you everything that's going to get you interested in it. And then I got to let it sit like a bamboo tree. It takes 5 years for a bamboo tree to grow. You got to let that thing sit even when the single come out, because that doesn't mean that it's over. That means it's leading you into the album. You feel me? So all my designs have a purpose, and they all lead to somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're coming out with new designs, think about your design like a business plan. Or it's like I kind of created Kool for Life through a lens of Ralph Lauren almost. Like, I have Kool for Life as the base, and then all my slogans are my potential lines. So I'm So Brooklyn is his own line through Kool for Life. Loyalty is his lifestyle, is his own line. Hate will destroy the world, love will save it, it's his own line. So that way, now I'm giving you different variations. Remember I said, they said you need to have more designs? I'm just giving you different variations now that lead you into different places. Some might lead you into positivity. Some might lead you into entrepreneurship. Some might lead you to go deep inside yourself, like my Crown Yourself Sis. One of my designs, one of my next best-selling designs is called Crown Yourself Sis. And I got one that says Crown Yourself King. And that means that you don't need no validation from nobody but yourself. And they love that design, because that's what people really feel. Because we get caught up in this social media. You know what Kool for Life means? If you was to see me in real life, in real time, I'm way better than on social media. I can give you the same energy. My frequency high no matter where I'm at. When I'm saying to you in real life, I'm way better than I ever be on social media. And the problem is we living in a world where people are way better on social media than they are in real life. That's problematic. So when you see me, I want you to see me. And when you see me, I want you to remember me. So in order for me to do that, I got to give you a standing impression. And people always say, like, why are you able to connect with the young people? Because you can't fool young people. I've been working with young people since I was 15 years old. I'm 36. If you are not authentic, the one thing young people have is intuition. They might not even know they have it, but they could tell whether you full of shit, excuse my language, or they could tell whether you mean them well. And majority of all the young people I came in contact with was able to tell that I mean them well. And then when they got to know me, they really saw it. So I could talk to the gangster young, the kids that are violent, the kids that are selling drugs, the kids that are going to college, the kids that are whatever you could come up with. I can connect with them because I get it. Poverty, broken family structures, broken communities, lack of resources. I get it. It's very hard having the type of skin color I have. And then it's very hard taking that and creating success, not because you don't have it in you, but because of all the pitfalls and because of all the strategic gameplay that's put in place to stop you from being great. But see, that's why I was interested in creating Kool for Life. Because the odds of me being successful in Kool for Life is probably just as slim as me being successful as a Black person or going outside and making it to the next day. But guess what? If the Most High came to me right now, it was like, Kirrick Wise, man, you've been living your life pretty good for the last 36 years. I'm going to give you the option to be Chinese, white, Jewish, whatever, Native, whatever you want to go to. I'm picking Black every time. Because I love who I am. Because you can't make it nowhere if you don't love who you are. So if you be like, how did he make it to year 6? You see what Shane just said? He said in year 5, 70% of businesses flat out, they just sold. How did I get here? Through consistency, belief in self, through having a tribe of people that believe in me, through mastering my craft, through believing in myself, through using, like, all right, so we in St. John's University. I got 3 degrees. I got an associate's, a bachelor's, and a master's. For the last 2, I graduated with honors. So I graduated cum laude with my bachelor's, and I got the yellow gold thing that you put on your neck when you get your master's. I used that same consistency and discipline that it took me. And let's go back. When I got my bachelor's, I graduated in 2015. I was in an accredited program. So I got the first year of my master's and the last year of my bachelor's. It sounded good at the time. But once I got into LIU to do my master's, I realized that they basically just took 2 years of a master's program and they put it in 1 year. So if I started in August, I had to next August to finish my master's program. It was one of the hardest programs I ever took in my life. Guess who got through and got the degree? Me. Because what did I say from the beginning of this? I'm Kool for Life. And if I can do it, you could do it. Anything you could put your mind to. But I need you to remember something. We don't live in a world anymore where it's okay for you to just have your master's. We don't live in a world where it's just okay for you to be an entrepreneur. You need to make sure that you do it simultaneously. So while you work, when I was working on my bachelor's and my master's, guess what I was working on at the same time too? Kool for Life. I'm talking about, I'm doing 30, 40 page papers, still checking my website, still doing speaking engagements, still writing blogs, still inspiring the culture and people that look like me while I'm working on my master's. I didn't say, oh my God. When I had my 2 daughters, guess who didn't stop working on Kool for Life? When I got, whatever happened to me in my life, when the pandemic happened and the whole world shut down, guess who ain't stopped working on Kool for Life? Because you have to be determined. The only thing that's going to stop me from working on Kool for Life is death. That's how much I love Kool for Life. That's the only thing that could stop me from working on it. I have to technically die for me to start working on my company because that's how much I love it. That's how much I'm invested in it. That's how much I believe in myself. But here's the trick to this. I know I'm inspiring other people. I know that there's people out there, they went to open up a clothing store and they didn't have the loan money. So they just wasn't able to open up the clothing store. But then they came on my Instagram and was like, wait a minute, he turned his apartment into a showroom. He did a Dapper Dan perspective. Oh, you know what? I'm about to start my hair business in my living room. Now, before they saw Kool for Life showroom in Best Style, Brooklyn, they was like, man, it's just too much money, man. It's $5,000 for the rent. None of my friends are supporting me. After they saw the video, they was like, I was talking to this young lady today from Queens, ironically. And she said, yo, I watched you work on your showroom the whole time. And it's amazing how it looks. I'm talking about it looks completely different. You know why? Because I was determined to do something that everybody else wasn't going to do. I already did 50 pop-up shops in my life, right? I did 50 pop-up shops in the last 5-6 years. Let me tell you something, y'all. If you go on koolforlife.com right now, say you type in Google, go on Google right now and be like, Kool for Life. And it come up first, and you like, oh my God, like he really legit. I had to hustle. And then I had to turn that hustle into strategy. And then I had to turn that strategy, I had to reorganize that strategy, right? Because hustling only gonna get you but so far. You have to turn that hustle into a system. And honestly speaking, right? You know how you're gonna tell when you have a business? When the hustle turns into a system, and that system can be used with or without you. See, a lot of the time we think we got a business because we running it. But you ain't running the business until the system runs the business. In order for you to get a system, you got to create it. You got to be diligent. You got to create a team. You got to know your stuff. You can't half-ass this. You have to really know, whatever it is that you saying you want to do, you got to know the ins and the outs. So when your business grows, you got to know the bottom level all the way to the top. You understand what I'm saying? Hope I'm not going on too much. I just got into it.
Not at all, brother. This is exactly what we wanted today. And we needed this energy because I know, just like you said, people are going through, we're in a pandemic season right now. People are coming through their personal business. People are coming through their, I think the new semester just started for the people on the call, like we're going through a lot of different stresses and we need this energy to bring us up. So no, keep on going whenever you feel. I just want to recap some of the stuff you said. Making sure you stick to your brand. So even when you diversified the designs that you had, it was still just building up on the Kool for Life brand. Just like Ralph Lauren has the polo, has the teddy bears, has different aspects, but it's all within that brand's style and what they intended to do as a brand. Another thing, just touching on so much of what you said, there's a difference between telling people to get over their poverty and getting through it. See, there's so many people that are on the other side of a dollar that have what they need, that have had their needs met, that are being paid what they should be paid, or maybe a bit more than what they're paid. And they'll tell people, oh, lift yourself up by your bootstraps, get over it, problems have always been around. So there's a difference between telling people to get over what they're going through and getting through what they're going through. So we have to drive more people to say, yeah, I know what you grew up in. Just like you said, I know what you grew up in. I know you grew up around violence. I know you grew up encouraged to do violence. I know that you grew up around dealers. I know you grew up around so many factors that are playing into your life and the way you think and perceive. And here are some resources, here are some ideas, here are some emotions that I've had that will help you get through it. You know what I mean? So we definitely need that. So please bring that energy.
Just to go off what you were just saying, though, I want people to understand something too. Like, I've dealt with a variety of different adversities, right? I was a crack baby. I was born in 1985. My mom was addicted to a drug. So I came out with a bunch of delays. The school system put me in special ed because I was diagnosed with ADD. I was diagnosed with skin lupus. I didn't never grow with my mother nor my father. I met my biological father when I was 31 years old. They diagnosed me with a skin disease that basically said you can't go outside in the sun and it could probably take you out if you're not careful. I come from an area where the statistics say that most people that look like me is not going to make it past 21, right? Let alone getting degrees and actually doing something with yourself, right? So not having my mother and my father, my great-grandmother passed away when I was 17. My grandfather, which is her son that adopted me, which is my father by law, passed away 10 years later at 27 from dementia. All my siblings, we never grew up in the same household, right? We all got trauma, we all got pain, we all basically probably need therapy. I'm not telling you all of these things so you could feel sorry for me, because as you can see, I'm doing pretty well for myself. I graduated about 5 times with a regular degree, with regular diplomas, with regular, whatever it is. Nothing, actually, it wasn't regular because I pushed myself and gave 150% because I was determined to make something of myself, right? I couldn't get on this call with you and tell you how you should be educated and do all of these things. And then you ask me, what school you went to? And I'm like, I just didn't feel like doing it, because then it wouldn't be authentic, right? Not saying that somebody that didn't go to school can't give you advice, but just for me, I had to back it up with something. No different than my brand, right? So when I'm talking to other designers and they like, who makes your stuff? You tie-dye that? And I'm like, yeah, now it's a whole nother conversation versus you like, I bought that like that from that space and I put my design on it. They're like, that's cool. But when they look at the collection, they're like, you want to have another conversation? Yeah, I'm quite sure you do want to have another conversation. So you got to pour and you got to, I love all the stuff that I've been through, honestly speaking, because it has made me authentic. It has made me, it has helped me connect to my empathy, right? It has helped me want to uplift and inspire young people, right? So instead of me complaining about being from Gates and Marcus Garvey, instead of me complaining about being from an area where a lot of young people get locked up, killed, or disenfranchised, I make sure that when they see me, they see light. When they see me, they see structure, they see a plan. When they see me on my Instagram, I ain't talk about negativity or violence. When they see me, I'm not into gossip. When they see me, they see that I'm locked in. And they could, as they see it grows, they like, I wonder what I could do if I lock into something. So the question is, right? Because racism, white supremacy, broken school structures, the pandemic, the coronavirus, all of these are variables that potentially lead to success. You heard what I said, variables. So that means that they are not the determining factor whether you make it or not. You know who the determining factor is? You. You are the determining factor, not your mother, your father. It don't matter what degree you got. It don't matter who you know. You are the determining factor if you make it through. You. So I need you, the young people listening to this, the best way to create success is to take accountability. And one thing I feel like for Black people is we lack accountability. We always find a way to blame it on something. Why you ain't go to school, man? You know, the white people, why you ain't build up something? Because you know the system, those are excuses. And excuses are for losers. You know what one of my coaches told me? My coach said, failing to plan is planning to fail. Hard work beat talent when talent don't work hard. So if you don't got a plan, you off the top telling the universe that you planning to fail. And then if you banking on your talent, like, I got a good skill set. So I'm not going to practice. I'm just going, shimmy my way through life. Hard work beat talent when talent don't work hard. I've seen many talented people lose because the hard worker stayed in the gym till 8 o'clock and practice was over at 4. And the talented kid, he was out at 4. Guess who got the extra playing time? Not the talented kid, the hardworking kid. So are you going to be talented and hardworking, or you going to be one or the other? Just remember, right? Because I don't want you to say nobody never told you these things. It's up to you. So if nobody in your family never did it, you could look at your cup like half empty, like, well, I don't have no degree because nobody in my family never graduated. Or you could be the precedence. You could be the precedence in your family. So when they revert and be like, well, nobody in the family got a degree, but so-and-so went got one. So now it's a precedent set. Be the precedence in your family. Be the precedence in your community. Well, nobody in this community never did that. I will. Well, nobody in this organization never did that. Be the precedence. What Jay-Z said, he said, I drove past the fork in the road and went straight. You know, a fork in the road go 2 different directions. You either going this way or this way. Going straight means you're a different type of entity. I'm going straight. I don't care about I don't care about anything that's going to stop me from inspiring you, because it's a form of distraction. Focus on what you need to do to change your reality.
Now, I love that you brought that up, and I love that you brought the Brooklyn out of it too. Man, there's so many. We got to shape this into a lesson. So I just want to make sure that people are taking notes out there, because there's so much to what you're saying. And again, it's bringing that passion into your actions. you know what I mean? But bringing your discipline to secure your degree, bringing that discipline into building the Kool for Life brand, that is incredible. You know, you also talked about leaving a legacy behind. Like if you were to die today, you know, that's the only thing that'll stop you from building up the Kool for Life brand. And at the same time, you know, you're leaving this brand, you're building up this asset basically for your two daughters, you know what I mean? And that's a part of why we even named our organization Urban Legacy, because it's about that legacy that we leave behind. Again, setting a precedent. You know, that's incredible, setting a precedent. And it's funny because I need to get my master's degree actually. And I've been helping and consulting for so many and tutoring so many master's students and some doctors. And they're like, oh man, so where'd you get your master's? Where'd you get your doctorate? Just like you said, you know, people will ask you. I'm like, oh man, I've helped more master's students get through their degree than I've helped myself get my own master's degree. So you speaking to me right now.
It's
Man.
In due time. It took me, listen, I got my master's, I got my degrees in increments. So say I got my associates when I was 18, and then when I was 21, I took a break. Then I went back to school when I was like 27. Then I took a break. And then I went back, and then I got my master's. And I'm probably taking a break right now before I get my PhD. But you got to go at your own pace, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good that you helped so many other people get masters and work on getting a PhD, because you didn't feel like it was your time yet, right? So when it's your time, it's going to be your time. Because at one time, I could have said the same thing to you. I remember when I didn't have any of these degrees, and I told people that college wasn't for me, and I was never going. So it takes evolution, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when you look at what you're doing for young people, like for myself, me and you working on a business plan on Friday. So I could call you up and I could share my ideas. And again, for all my entrepreneurs out there, it's very important that you have mentors and you have professors and you have people that you could connect with on a deeper level, where you could call them up and share your vision, or you could call them up or you could get advice, because your team and the people that you surround yourself with on a regular basis will be the definition, or will be the defining point, or will be one of the defining points of your success and where you're going. Because you could tell where somebody is going based on the people they hang out with all the time. So are you hanging out with people that's just watching TV and power every day? Are you hanging out with people that's just playing video games and on Instagram just skimming through all day? Are you hanging around people that just speak negativity and talk about what they can't do all day, and then you find that you can't do it? Or are you hanging around people that's doing better than you? Are you hanging around people that have accomplished more than you? Are you hanging around people that have worked on themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually? And if you share an idea with them, they bounce it right back at you and give and get more of that idea out of you. Surround yourself around people that are winning and are putting in the self. Surround yourself around people that are winning and that's putting themselves in a position in their own reality to win. And they don't do it for the ones that's telling you, like, yo, look at me, I'm winning, I'm doing my thing. Look at the ones where you ain't gotta ask them about nothing. You can look with your own two eyes and see that they doing their thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, for sure. And there's something that's important in what you said too, is finding mentorship. And I know it's funny because Asia just commented in the chat, and Asia claimed me as a mentor. And when I thought about that, I thought about the fact that my two mentors, I claim them as mentors. So if you can't find a mentor, take a mentor.
That's a fact.
So I love that. And working with people, you know, so people know we're working on a lot of different projects together. And there's something that I enjoyed doing on Friday when we put together that Crow branded deal with the artists and the hemp organization and your organization at Urban Legacy. Yeah. That was a beautiful moment. And we need to create those kind of ecosystems and keeping people around you who are about your growth and about their growth. It's okay to have people that are about their growth. They should be about their growth and yours, because it's not a zero-sum game. You know, we could all actually win. And the most successful stories of people winning in history, a lesson that I'm going to be teaching when I present as well, is that we have to find a team. We have to find a solid team, because nobody has ever done anything alone. Jay-Z had Dame Dash. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has somebody that helped them come up. Bleak had Jay-Z and Dame. You know what I mean? Like everybody has that. There's nobody that you can go to that has. Warren Buffett had his father. You know what I mean? Everybody has somebody. Jeff Bezos talks about being able to build his Amazon brand in the garage of his parents' house. Mark Zuckerberg did it in school. You know what I mean? There's nobody you're going to find that did anything alone. So you have to find people that, yo, man, you're speaking right now. I needed you to come here and preach, man. That's exactly it. I want questions, y'all. If everybody that's listening in the chat right now, please ask us questions. I want to take Asia's question too. She said, how important is mentorship and community when it comes to building success in your craft? So that's my question for you.
I think that I always focused on building a brand, and the way Kool for Life is put together, since it's about building communities, it's about connecting people through unconditional love, and it's like it's using fashion as a form of expression through the lens of social work, right? So it was only right. I had no other choice but to build a community. I call it my Kool for Life tribe, right? So my Kool for Life tribe, which Asia is a part of, because I am assisted with mentoring her just like you. And it was a pleasure that you introduced me to her. But my goal in mentoring her is like throwing her out there and let her just get into the fire, right? So her goal, one of her goals is to help me build the community of Kool for Life, right? And me and her basically just met. But to me, it's not about how long you knew somebody. It's about what you do with them in that time. I basically might have just met you a little while ago, but that doesn't really determine how much of we are brothers, because the time that we connected. So time is an illusion anyway, right? So it's important to build the community and have mentors within your brand, because you basically book smart, reading books and researching something is only going to take you but so far. And the person that research and does the book work and then also has the experience will always beat the book smart person out, because experience is the best teacher, right? When you actually in it and you teaching yourself hands-on, you're going to be better than the person that's reading through the books, because they read it like a theory perspective. Like you don't even know if it's going to happen like that the way the book might give it to you. So the stuff that I read in school for social work, yes, I came across similar things like that in the real world, but it was way different than what it was in the book. The book was like the top layer. When you actually come across these people in the actual real world, you got to get real deep. And sometimes the book can't prepare you for that, right? So having a mentor within your business or within your whatever it is that you're working toward will help you see things that you might not even be looking for, because you don't know, because you never did it. And you might have to learn. And sometimes you don't want to fall on your face every time they have to learn something. So if you have a mentor within that field that have mastered what you're doing, you could go to them like, yo, you know what? I'm thinking about opening up this spot real quick around the corner. They asking me to invest 25,000 and I got a boom, boom, boom. They're going to be like, whoa, I don't know if that's a good idea. I tried that 5-10 years ago. It didn't work out. This is what happened. Now you have a conscious decision to go out there and try it. You could try it, or you could say, you know what do you think I should do? See, that's why it's important to have a mentor. And then when you build a community, I basically could put a problem within if I go on right now and take a note and write and say, I have this problem, somebody within my Kool for Life tribe is going to respond to me. So that's the community of them watching me being consistent, them watching me graduate, them watching me do speaking engagements, them watching me speak all the time, them watching my whole life. They have become invested. So if I go right now, like, I wonder what this name of this machine is. Can anybody help me? Somebody going to write on the post, or somebody going to send me a direct message. But that was because I intentionally built up my community, a community of people with it's other fashion designers, it's seamstress, it's philanthropists, it's people that got money, it's people that's investing in stock and crypto, it's people that's college graduates. I got all type of people within my community. So that means that if I need help with something, I'm not always trying to figure it out. I'm going to people that in my community within that field, and I'm going to ask them if they can help me. And most of the time, 99.9% of the time, I get the help that I'm looking for. So branding yourself is very important, because it gives the consumer a scope of what you're doing. And the more they get a scope of it, the more they connect with it, the more they like, all right, so let's give an example. Frank Sinatra, right? Frank Sinatra was out he was out for years before he really popped and became the Frank Sinatra that everybody knows about. Like New York, like that Frank Sinatra, I can't sing, y'all. But Frank Sinatra came out a variety of different times. He didn't pop though. Like he didn't make it to where he wanted to make it. So then an older Frank Sinatra, which was kind of crazy, he said, you know what? I'm going to start singing to like younger people, younger men, younger women. I'm going to start singing to them about their problems and what they're going through. Now, you would say, why would he want to sing to younger people? They ain't got no money. But he said, in his mind, these younger people going to get older. They're going to go from 15 to 16 to 25 to 35 to 45. And guess who they're going to be rocking with the whole time? Frank Sinatra. So his marketing plan was, I'm going to target you can hear me? I'm sorry. His marketing plan was, I am going to target young people, right? And these young people are going to be the base of my business. And they're going to support me throughout my entire career. And that's exactly what happened. So when you brand yourself, it comes with a strategy. And that strategy might not happen that first year, that second year, that third year. You might have to put 10 years in. And look at it like this. If you say it to yourself, like, why would I want to put 10 years into my business? If you think you're going to go work for somebody and they're going to pay you a big check, it takes 7 to 10 years for them to really invest in you. So you could go to the company with all the degrees, all the credentials, and be like, yo, I want to get top dollar. They're going to be like, yo, give it some time, man. And that time will turn into 3 years, 4, 5, 6. And in year 7, they're going to really start talking money with you. They're going to really start talking about making you a part of their investment in their company. For that 10 years, you could be building your own company. I want to, listen, I want you to work a career, right? I want you to live out your passion. I want you to live out your dream. But I'm Black, right? I know my history. I know that being from the United States of America, that the first stock in this country was me, people that look like me. And all the wealth that came off of this country came from people that look like me. But we didn't really get anything out of that. We did it for free. It was slavery. It was free labor. So I'm not going to take everything my ancestors did, all the people that fought and died, so that I could be able to present this type of stuff to you right now and say that I'm going to go work for somebody for 30 or 40 years because I'm Black. And I personally believe that we did enough work for people for free. And not that you're not getting paid while you're working. What's more important than money to me is time. Time is a currency that you can't buy. So to give that amount of time to something is just equivalent as me getting paid, not getting paid. It's me waking up every day and going to do work for 40 hours a week and not getting no check.
Investing in somebody else's dream.
Absolutely. Now, again, it's twofold to that because I've worked since I was 15 years old. I've worked for many companies, many corporations. But guess what? I had a plan in mind. And I know just as much as that corporation and company, if they don't need me anymore, or they could find a machine or something where they don't got to pay me, guess what they're going to do to me? Deuces. So guess what I did to all of the companies and jobs that I worked for when I didn't want to do it anymore? Deuces. Because it's a job. I'm going to invest in myself. Yeah, I work your job for a little bit. I just told you I got 3 degrees. If I need some extra income for my family, I put myself in a position to take care of myself. But the goal is not to work for somebody for 30, 40 years. Why? It's not that much money in the world. I'd rather sign my own check and then help other people learn how to sign their own check. Because again, if you look like me, you got to understand the history and the plight of what we already have been through. So what we should be doing right now and is investing in things that work for us. Things that's going to, maybe you should think of an idea that's going to make you $1 million in 3 years versus 30 years. Because what am I doing with $30 million when I'm 70? I want $30 million when I'm 40, when I'm 38, so I can enjoy it, so I could be vibrant and young with it, so I could, build up the community and have the energy to do so. the American dream wasn't designed for us. You could say that's your opinion, but the Constitution even tells us that's where the whole 3/5 of a man came from. It makes it clear as day that when they was making it, they added us to it. That's after, like, you know what I'm saying? After Dr. King, after the Freedom Rider, after Lincoln, like after all of these different things that was happening, they had to add to it because it wasn't working. But when it originally was created, in my personal understanding, in my opinion, it wasn't created for us. And honestly speaking, who wants a piece of the pie? This melanin in my skin, this magical energy in me, it says that we should all have our own separate pies. So that's what I want you to work for. Don't go out there and work for getting a slice of the pie. Nah,
You
those
are the
days
pie.
are over. You want the whole pie.
Just so I want to be able to bring on a student to ask a question of you, and
Sure.
and just while we prep that up, I just want to recap. You talked about, you know, how Sinatra reached out to the young, and people got to understand there's a difference between your buyer and your end user, to make it very technical. So your buyer might be that older crowd, but you have to remember, and this is tied to this next lesson as well, young people shape culture, and Black people have shaped American culture. So you have to understand, everybody that's listening, with your age, you shape how people think about the entire world. TikTok is popular because of you. Instagram was popular because of my generation. Facebook was popular because of the millennials that are a little older than me. You know what I mean?
It started off with MySpace and then
Right.
Facebook. Now, and that was
AOL, right. We shape
Yeah,
culture, everything that,
what's your
and imagine.
favorite? Remember
Right.
your favorite? Like, no, I'm putting you on my top. You know what I'm saying? You on my
Right.
top. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Your top 8. Yeah, that was very political. That could change your whole school day the next day. I haven't forgotten.
Oh,
Change friends. You beefing, girls
you
change up, like everything.
like, oh man, my fault, man.
Right. But people, you guys shape culture. So just remember that everything that everybody shuns at first, when you embrace it, they will embrace it. And there's an adoption curve for that. So we'll talk about that too. But absolutely. I want to let you ask your question, Anne Marie.
Hi. You were talking, Mr. Kirrick, you were talking about, you know, you're giving us like an outline to follow. You said hustle, then strategy, then reorganize, and turn that into a system. Can you elaborate more on the system? Because that caught my attention.
Okay. So basically, when you start your business, you start off with like, I want to come up with an idea that's going to help the community, right? So that's a passion. And that passion takes you to actually taking your foot forward and actually doing things. And you might have to do a variety of different things in the beginning because it's just you, right? Because this is your dream. This is your vision. The system is that, for example, right? As I'm getting bigger in my business, it's getting to a point where I might not always be able to produce my own clothing. So I do my own screen print. I check my emails. I market. I post on Instagram. I'm outside in the summertime setting up my pop-up shops. I'm doing pop-up shops. I'm doing all of these different things. But as my company grows, it's going to kind of run me thin. So the system is, maybe I need to hire an intern. Maybe I need to hire somebody that knows how to screen print. Maybe I need to hire somebody that's mastered marketing and creating new sales. Maybe I need to hire somebody that could be my creative designer that know how to create a bunch of different pieces of art. So now it's about delegation. So now if I have to go run to Africa real quick to meet with a business partner because they want to spend $100 million in Kool for Life, I could leave New York City and everything could still run smoothly. All my orders could still get filled. Motivational and inspirational posts is still going up. People that's responding for orders is getting responded to. That's systems. And I'm not the one doing it. So now these systems are taking my place. They're responding back to the emails. They're reaching out and creating new sales. So now when I come back, I'm looking at some papers or a computer. Okay, did you do that? Did you do that? What do we got to work on? Now you're looking at it as a scope. versus you being the person that's doing everything. Because if you're the person that's doing everything, you're not running a business yet. You're running a potential business that's you're hustling. It's a hustle. You have to turn that hustle into a system. And that system means that you could not be there and it could still happen. You understand what I'm saying? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, really nice. Thank you.
I just want to add to it a little bit too.
Yeah.
So just like Kirrick is saying, when you're working on your own, you're not really a small business owner, and that's an actual distinction. So you could be an entrepreneur and not be a small business owner, because a small business should have some sort of self-sufficiency. And if you talk to Asia, we're trying to work out the same thing in Urban Legacy right now. There are a lot of opportunities that we have. We need like an army of people to help us with those opportunities. So we're open-minded about it. And a year ago, when Asia and I first met, Asia was an intern. Now Asia's the director because she created a program for our organization. So you got to find somebody that's willing to invest in you and see your worth straight off and invest in that worth as well and give you that opportunity. And if you don't find anyone, take it. Because whatever you know, there's something. Tell me 3 things that you love to do in this world. Tell me 3 things. It doesn't matter what they are. No judgment.
Art. Well, I like art, fashion, and per se, I like to paint. Well, along
Thank God. I'm so glad you said those 3, because all 3 of those are billion-dollar industries.
Yeah.
So that means that whatever you have, that your talent right now, whatever you're sitting on, build up that talent. And that's something that I'll talk about when I present as well. Build up that talent. Just like Kirrick said, he had to get to a point where he wanted to learn screen printing so that he could offer that to the world, you know, so he could offer that to his own brand. You know, he could do his brand and also screen print for people. That skill is what makes you your own table. Instead of looking for a seat at somebody else's table, instead of looking for a cut of somebody else's pie, you're building your pie when you create that system. And once you do that, once you have your own setup for that, then you have to branch out. I started off Urban Legacy with a team of 3 and pushing through the paperwork that it takes to start a nonprofit. Now we have different lanes. Now we're looking at art. Now we're looking at fashion. Now we're looking at technology training, you know what I mean? And I have to find people for those things and make sure they're sustainable. So that's how you create that system. I call them revenue generating engines, just because system has such a negative connotation. Like we're not friends of the system, right? Yeah. But they're engines. Everybody loves a good engine, right? You want your engine to be running. So I call them revenue generating engines. You want to build your engine so that that gas you put in starts pushing your car for you.
Yeah.
But started like this, right? To go off Shane, the best cars have the best systems. The best cars, their system work along with the engine, right? And if the system get messed up, it eventually messes up the engine. So it's kind of like we saying the same thing, but we just giving you a different variation of it, right? The better systems are, the easier it'll allow you to drive faster or slow up. You understand what I'm saying? But when you don't have a system, you can't control your own pace.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie.
Yeah.
I have another question I want to ask from a student. I'm not gonna put their name out there. They said, what advice do you have for people who are afraid to work for themselves and who don't want to be entrepreneurs, or do you feel everyone should be?
Well, you don't know if you want to be something if you never did. And fear is a form of an illusion. It's something that didn't happen yet. So if you're focusing on being fearful about something you never did, that's a form of an illusion, right? The only way that you eradicate fear is preparation. So if you want to eradicate fear, you have to prepare and you have to practice. And you have to constantly practice on it consistently and be diligent. And if you practice if you're consistent and you're diligent with the process of mastering your craft, when it's time for you to do whatever it is that you want to do, you won't be scared anymore. But most of the time we're scared because we lack information on what it is that we want to do. It's like, for example, when I was speaking, When I first started speaking 15, 20 years ago, I was scared because I felt like I didn't know how to speak in front of people. Having a conversation with 4 or 5.
Can't imagine that, man. I can't imagine that at all.
And it was a time where when it was time for me to speak, I would be sweating like I was about to have a Willie Beeman moment. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be hard for me to like, especially if it was like, I remember one of my biggest speaking engagement, right? So when I was working on my bachelor's, before I graduated, I had 5 semesters in a row when I was on the dean's list, when my GPA was 3.5 and above. Right before those 5 semesters started, my GPA was a 2.4, like 8.9. I'm talking about a 2.9 something, right? I was like, if you needed a 2.5 to stay in a social work program, I was off by like 3 points. They kicked me out of the social work program, right? So I have like this persistent thing about me where like, if I don't want to give up, I'm not giving up. So I go to the chair, this young lady, doctor, I think her name was Dr. Hastic. And I said, all right, I just need to stay in this program. I promised my grandparents I was going to do something with myself. I can't get kicked out of the social work program. There's no other programs that I want to do. She like, it's nothing I can do. I can't help you. I go to the dean. It's nothing I could do. I go all the way up to now to the vice president, to the provost. I'm like, yo, man, listen, sir, this doesn't make any sense to me. The provost was like, he heard my story. He said, I'm going to get you back in. So now all the people that told me no, that I couldn't get back in, they the same people that had to sign the papers to get me back in. So when I get back in, they didn't think the next semester I was going to get no 3.5 or no 3.8. I just got you heard what I say? I got a 2.4 something. So in their mind, there's no way he's getting no 3.7, no 3.8. Guess what I did the next semester? I hit him with the 3.8. So now these same people that told me I couldn't get, thank you. These same people that told me I couldn't get into the program, they was like, oh, Mr. Wise, would you like to speak at the Dean's List ceremony? Isn't that ironic, right? Like, these are people that just kicked me out the program a semester previous. So I'm like, absolutely. At the time now, I'm reading. I need to write it out. I need to print it out. So now I'm printing it out. Now, guess how many people was at this speaking engagement? It was at Mega Edwards College. It was 5,000 people in the audience. The whole auditorium was full. I'm talking about, I was sweating. I'm like, my underarms was sweating. Like, I was nervous, y'all. Like, I got through it. It was probably one of the worst speeches I ever did in my life. You see how I could flow with y'all? It wasn't no flow. I'm like, oh, my name is Kirrick Wise, and I just want to give off this message. It was horrible. Shout out to all my college friends that held me down. They was cheering for me. And for all my entrepreneurs, no matter what it is that you're thinking about doing, nobody's going to start off real good at anything. You're supposed to start off being bad at it because you got to work your way up. And within working your way up, you respect the process. So did I answer the question?
I think so, absolutely. No, that's exactly it, because you know, there's a lot of fear out there that people are trying to overcome.
Yeah.
And a lot of the failure comes from, so a doctor said to me once, she said, you spend the rest of your life trying to get over your first 20 years, like the trauma of your first 20 years. And that was one of the most profound things that anyone said to me, because a lot of that fear that people feel for like starting a business or for doing whatever project it is, whatever you guys have to do right now, whatever you're working on, there's a lot of fear out there because we were raised in a system that created fear. If you did not do your homework, if you didn't get, and I'm saying that as somebody that tests immaculately, if you didn't get 100 on your test, or if you didn't pass your test, it ruined you for the week, which ruined you for the semester, which ruined you for the year. And it changes, like one test or a few tests could change everything when you're just trying to figure stuff out, or you don't even know why you should have to figure stuff out. So that talking about, you know, the system that you came out of and where fears arise from, that's so much of the equation. We have to get over the experiences of our first 20 years, you know what I mean? And we have to get over that because people, you have to also expect to fail. Something that Mark Zuckerberg said once was, everyone looks at my success. You have to get used to failing, because everyone looks at my success that hit, and no one looks at the other 20 projects that I know I was working on and nobody else knows about because they failed. You know, you guys know about Facebook, but you don't know about A, B, C, X, Y, Z, because all of those things fail. You have to be used to failure. We created Urban Legacy to give people that opportunity to feel the pain and joy of success and failure. And both of them come with both, because there's so much you can learn out of failure. We've had events. One of our first programs for Urban Legacy was Packed. We were training middle school girls how to do web design, and it was a resounding success. We had a full program. About a quarter of the girls left and started their own websites. So we literally had middle school girls starting their own businesses right there. But then we put out the program literally 3 more times in the wintertime. But since kids had so much burnout from doing distance learning and everything like that, nobody signed up. So we had to figure out how to do another type of programming. You adapt off of that. You know what I mean? You have to put yourself in a position where you have to be willing to fail. I'm building that off of Kirrick's lesson, actually. I'm gonna add my own for a second. What is the failure rate of employment? Everyone talks about the failure rate of self-employment. Everyone talks about the failure rate of entrepreneurship. But what is the failure rate of going out there and getting a job? Unless you end up being like a teacher, or getting a government job like a teacher or a police officer or something like that, where you have a pension, you have a strong union, all of those things. What is the failure rate of going to a corporation and saying, hey, you know, I want to work with you for a time? You're not staying, most people are not staying in those jobs for any length of time, if they could even get them in the first place. What's the failure rate of a job search? We're getting into a very unique scenario in our lives and in this time period where the barriers to entry for starting a business are actually starting to get lower than the barriers for entry for getting a regular job. I actually, when I started my consulting firm that I have separate from Singularity, I basically spent a year after one of the best jobs that I ever had, but the company was bought out, so I lost it. I was literally downsized. I spent a year looking for other jobs, and I had the last straw where I was like, I need to go into business for myself. Why am I trying to make more other people rich all over again? The last straw for me was actually a success. I went into a job interview. I had one of the best interviews of my whole life. I fell in love with their communications manager. I fell in love with their marketing director. We were talking about all the intricacies of how the industry is evolving. We saw the digital rise before anybody else did, and we were talking about all the stats behind that. They fell in love with me. I fell in love with them. And legally, you're not even supposed to do this, but they were like, yo, we want to give you this job. We just can't. I was like, why? They were like, we can't afford you. And my question was, what was the magical day when I went from underqualified for getting most of the jobs that I wanted to overqualified? I said, absolutely not. I took the money that I had in my bank account. I got my DBA and incorporated that week. I was not playing around. I was done.
That's
and
beautiful.
I've had my consultancy since.
That's beautiful. And if just like you've been breaking down my transcripts, for all the young people out there that's listening to that, right? You could go shopping in the store and find clothes that's like close to what your size is. And most of the time it could look good. But then there's certain people out there, they go get their clothes custom made and they go to the tailor. And the tailor, they gives them the exact measurements of what it is that they want to look like. So there's no in-betweens in that, right? You get your clothes tailored. It's like the right length for your arms, for your neck, for your waist. So when people see you, it's like, yo, man, where did you get that suit from? It looks great on you. But here's the difference, right? it's like kind of like the system in a hustle. It's like when you go shopping and you go to these stores, it's like a 70-30% chance that you're gonna find what you like, and then it's gonna really look. Some of the times people go shop and they have to take those clothes to the tailor to get it fitted to them the way they want it to look. I'm gonna ask you, are you gonna create a lifestyle that's tailor-made from you that fits your life exactly the way you want it? Or are you going to go fit into another perspective where it's like 70-30, where it's kind of what you want to do, but it's not really what you want to do? It kind of fit good, but that tailor suit would have looked a little better. So what suit are you going to put on?
Kirrick, you're a preacher right now. I never even thought of it that way, but that is so much it. And ironically, even with Urban Legacy, we came up with that concept because, you know, it was me, Shawnee, and Jalen, the other co-founders that we have for Urban Legacy. Literally, this whole organization we started was after a conversation after church one day when we were just talking about the ails of being Black entrepreneurs and all the things that we're going through. And I said, well, we're entrepreneurs though, so we're not just going to present this problem. Just like you said, culturally, we have some things to work on our own. Now that's our own private business and we won't be held to account from our own oppressors, but we could discuss it among each other where culturally we have to start providing more solutions. And I said, I'm not going to sit here and complain about the system as it is. We need to create an organization now that changes that system. You know what I mean? And people need to understand, like I said, the barriers to entry for starting a business are actually starting to change. So it's actually, if you have any kind of skill, and I assure you, you do, there is something that you know on a professional level. You've put 10,000 hours on this earth. So I know that there's something in your life that you know on a professional level that you could at least go start a YouTube channel on or an Instagram channel on, which is one of the programs that we're offering as well. There's something you know on a professional level. But even with that, the barriers to entry, it's a couple of $100. I spent a couple $100 on sneakers. I spent more than that on I've spent 10 times that on my computer system, 20. You know what I mean? We invest or spend or expend our capital in so many other places. Invest in yourself, start a business. It doesn't need to be full-time at first. It could be as you find clients. After, I want to make sure I got her name right. It was Anne Marie. After Anne Marie asked her question and she talked about one of her interests being art, I actually got a few direct messages where people were like, yeah, we've seen her art. It is actually amazing. You know what I mean? She has an opportunity now. And, you know, everybody that said that to me, reach out to her, give her an opportunity to do a commission for her art. Because another part of that, and Anne Marie, if you're still listening, you could monetize now. Go start a Patreon. Go start putting your work on Instagram, the commissions that you get. Go start putting your commissions out there and you'll get offers to do more. Actually, that was a part of the deal that Kirrick and I set up this Saturday when we had a gallery featuring his clothing brand and another feature artist. We spoke to one of the artists that was there and said, your work is amazing and it would be very conducive to like building something and designing something in the style of this hemp company, maybe talking about the history of it. And Kirrick could easily add that to his brand and we can amplify how there's a whole new industry of the hemp industry and the cannabis industry. That's an opportunity now. And we could speak to that and bring people into it because it's a legalized industry. It is a viable field and people need to know more about it. But all of that is to say, when you have that base of talent, you can start your business right now. Why wouldn't you? You could do it, 5 to 9. I think Big Sean said 10 to 10 and then 10 to 10 and then 10 again. Because nightmares of losing everything boost his adrenaline. I feel that adrenaline when I speak to Kirrick. That's why I had to bring him here.
I appreciate that, bro.
We need more. Yeah, bro. I think everyone understands now why you had to be our guest speaker for today. Do we have any more questions from the chat? Anything like that? We're taking questions at this time. when is Kirrick dropping a course? That's an excellent question. I'm gonna use that as segue, Kirrick, if you don't mind, for talking about the other deal that we're setting up.
Sure.
That's perfect. So it was asked, when is Kirrick dropping a course? What we're gonna drop in partnership with Urban Legacy and Kool for Life, we're gonna drop an opportunity for fashion design students and artists to reach out to us, and we're gonna host a competition and promote your work. And whoever is the lead of the competition, Kirrick is gonna walk you through doing the first versions or participating in the first versions of your own clothing line or a co-branded relationship between all of us. So you'll have the opportunity to partner with us, because we're not out here as some organization that's going to try to get you to, like, you know, there are other organizations that will take Black strife, that will take our pain and capitalize on it instead of reinvesting into the people that have been victimized by the system. So we're giving you the opportunity to build an engine with us. We want to see your work and preview your work, and whoever leads this competition, we'll give you the opportunity to build your own brand. And we're going to put the whole thing through the ringers of like a course format, so that we could replicate that for the future, because you have to make your work sustainable as well. Because again, and it's so funny because when we bring these things into reality, you could see the principles that we're talking about. You're not a business owner. You're not a small business owner unless your business could run for itself. So we want to talk about how to get your brand online. We're going to be bringing this co-branded relationship online. And then even for that program of ours, we're going to show other people how we walk through that process step by step. So that is the answer to when is Kirrick dropping a course.
I appreciate
dropping one.
And I've been asked that a few times. I'm working along with this principal right now in a high school. I actually call her because I worked in different high schools for about 8 years. So I called one of the principals up and asked her if I could create like a potential curriculum, maybe for tie-dyeing or just for screen printing, because there's so many different angles with the clothing industry. Like if you could find the right principal or the right resources within the school, and they're willing to, like, say, buy a couple screen printers or a DTG printer or like all the supplies that you need, that can actually be a course where it's like the beginning stages of starting your own brand. So I am working on that. I'm going to get Shane to help me because I would love to be able to take that program and push it through a couple of colleges and a couple of high schools, maybe even junior high schools, to give the kids like the first template. Because normally when you talk about tie-dyeing, like what I do tie-dyeing is not like what you're going to go get from the art store when they give you the tie-dye kit. You know what I mean? Like I've taken that concept and I've evolved it. You understand what I'm saying? So I would love to share that knowledge, because no tie-dye is the same. And once you figure it out, it becomes a creation of you. It's like you put your own imprint on it. So I think that would be a dope course. And I appreciate for you even asking when that will potentially happen. That made me feel good. So appreciate you.
Right. And again, you know, we're just listening to the market, because people have been asking us for courses, and you're hearing now, like, people want that information from you too. And, you know, just for everybody listening right now, you are our market. The mission of Urban Legacy is to build Black wealth. You know what I mean? For that to happen, we have to create an ecosystem. That ecosystem is comprised of lifting up our Black youth and young adults, and building that interaction between other people of color and white people who are our allies and want to see us elevated as well. So we're all working together on these things, and we're creating those platforms for you to get that advancement. Actually, Asia, if you have the opportunity, please, could you drop our direct emails in the chat as well, just so that people could reach out to us directly. And you guys will see, if you email me, my subject line has all of my contact information. So if there's anyone that wants to reach out to us, or, you know, have us reach out to each other and introduce you, just let us know, because we're available. The whole purpose of today is to show you that there are people that actually literally only just care about your growth. Because there's so many, just like Kirrick was talking about, the guidance counselor, the teacher, the principal, there's a teacher that's in my life that's near and dear to my heart. She told me that, and she's now about to retire and is the most senior teacher in her district and one of the most successful. She told me that when she was back in high school, her guidance counselor told her and her mother that the best she should expect to do in life is to be a secretary. Blew my mind out the box. You know what I mean? There are people out there that make a living because those people were paid to tell Kirrick that he couldn't get through. They got a nice salary. They got a nice check at the end of the week that they told him what they told him. You know, that we need to be equally invested in each other, and we need to create those opportunities as well. So more questions, please, everyone.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm looking through the chat right now to see if we had any other questions that we missed. You know, I want to circle back on this one. If you are not surrounded by other people that are successful, how do you go about finding successful people? Again, that's kind of the purpose of Urban Legacy. I know that's the purpose of Kirrick coming here and joining us today. We want to make that introduction with you right now. And whatever your lane is, we might not have a direct program that does what you're interested in right now. But whatever your lane is, I'm sure somebody in our network knows that. Anne Marie's back. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Earlier in the chat, you were mentioning, well, Mr. Kerrigan, you were mentioning that we should find a mentor. And what do you say to the people that they want a mentor and they want to take a mentor, but there's no one around them, like in their community or anyone that they know immediately that, you know, is successful enough to be a mentor?
The best way I could say is that I think Shane said it earlier, like sometimes you have to go out there and you have to find your mentor. The mentor might not be in your area. You got to look at it like, say if you're from a city like New York and you want a particular job, but they tell you that you have to go to Staten Island, but you live in Queens. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to step outside of your area, step outside of your comfort zone to find it, whatever it is that you're looking for. So a lot of the times, and this comes with you doing the due diligence of being hardworking, being consistent, and being diligent. When you reach out to these people that you want to be your mentors, they're going to take a look at your life. They're going to see, they might ask you a question. They might ask you a question about your craft, or like, how long did it take you to do that art? Or when you come up with new artwork, like, what's your process? They might want to see what your answer is, and that might let them know how serious you are in your field. So you might have to reach out. You might have to Instagram. You might have to email. You might have to go get on the bus or the train or the plane and go to these places and find these people that you want to mentor you and let them know you want them to mentor you. Consistency. You know, sometimes not taking no for an answer. So what? They could tell you, I don't have time to be a mentor. Write them back in 30 days. You know what I'm saying? If you write them back 2 or 3 times, they say no, find somebody else better than them and write them. You know what I'm saying? And let them know that you wrote the other person and you kept going. Be persistent. You understand what I'm saying? The power is in a follow-up. So you might feel like you call somebody 5 times and they didn't answer. They might be busy. Sometimes ego gets in the way and people will be like, you know what? I'm not going to call that person back. I'm going to call you back. I will call you 10 times if I needed to talk to you. Until you answer, I'm going to call you back. Especially if you give me a number and tell me to call you, I'm definitely calling you back. Because now I need to show you how serious that I am to connect with you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just want to add to that and take something from what Kirrick said. Robert F. Smith is the richest Black person in America right now at the moment. He started this organization, Vista Equity Partners. If you go on YouTube right now, and this is something I want people to take away as well, all of the people that you look up to, they'll tell you their life story because they're on the other side of success. So for the ones that really care about you hearing their information as well, you can go find their speeches and everything like that and listen to some of the advice that they have as well. That's what I do. He's my hero. That's somebody that I want to emulate. You know what I mean? He said when he was, I think, still in high school, I'm ad-libbing the story, so this is just even more reason for you to go find it for yourselves as well. But he was too young for this program that they were hosting at Bell Labs, I believe it was. That was the process of him becoming an engineer. He wanted to get into this program, and at first he couldn't. So he tried over and over again. He called, he was too young for it automatically, so that should have shut him out and should have stopped him dead right into there, but he didn't stop. So he was persistent about it. He called the secretary that was in charge of the roster over and over again. And I think at the time they only could phone call. So he would call her persistently every day at a certain time and say, hey, I still want to be a part of the program. Hey, I still want to be a part of the program. Hey, and then one day she calls him back, a call that he never thought that he was going to get. She calls him back and says, hey, a couple of people dropped out of the program last minute. So if you could be down here ASAP, now you're a part of the program. The process of getting a mentor, the process of taking a mentor, like we said, is very similar. Like, it's exactly the same, actually. Just have that persistence and look outside of the box, like Kirrick was saying. See, I know Miss Monique. Miss Monique is almost my mentor. So I know that if y'all have access to her, I'm sure that environment doesn't only have one of her. I'm sure that you could go reach out to her and talk to them. I'm sure that, you know what I mean? So there are people that are around you. You just got to think outside of the box. They might not live next door to you. My mentors both live in the city over from mine. You know what I mean? Yeah. And mentors, there are two more things. Mentors are for specific tasks, number one, and mentors are not your God. So your mentor is going to fail in front of you. Your mentor is going to have mess ups in front of you. I tell Asia, I stopped Asia and I'm like, listen, this is where we messed up in these last events. They might have looked great for everybody else, but they were 80 to us. They were 100 to everybody else that was watching. But for what we needed to do, this is why it's an 80. This is why it's my fault. You know what I mean? And that's something else that I want people to take away. There's always the I and the power of the I. This is what I needed to do next time to make this scenario and situation better. And any mentor you find should have some similar sort of disposition. But my mentors are for very specific things. One of my mentors is specifically for me building out my nonprofit, because I've built businesses before. I've never built a nonprofit before in my life. And the space is alien to me almost. So that's one of my mentors. And the other is to remind me that, we need to build this ecosystem together, because I have a little bit too much information about Black history in my head. And I'm not very confident in our allies. But I realize with this person, she is the embodiment of why I need to get more. Actually, Kirrick met her. So it's Nicole Alifante from Cure. I'll mention the organizations too. So Meg Koifer from the STEM Alliance of Larchmont and Mamaroneck, she's the one that helps me build out my nonprofit. And she's actually the reason why we were able to launch our first program, the one that helped middle school age Black girls learn how to do web design. And I meant for it to be specifically Black women, because we need to empower ourselves together and we need to empower each other separately. So Meg Koifer is a white woman from Larchmont that helped me put that program together with her Black program director to teach Black girls how to learn web design. And she's helping me with that part. Nicole Alifante from Cure is helping me realize that there are well-meaning white people out there that do want to help. And they will put their money where their mouth is, when it's crunch time, when times get tough. You know what I mean? When they could choose to lean on white supremacy or the capital of their whiteness, but they choose to use that capital instead to amplify Black voices, to amplify Black opportunities and opportunities for people of color. Those are the mentors that I took. And the days that I took those mentors, they were like, you sure you want me as a mentor? Which is ironic, because I know the day that Asia reached out to me and she said, yeah, you're my mentor. And I was like, huh? You know what I mean? Yeah. Sure. You know what I mean? But your mentors, just as much as you need to show and prove to them, they're really just like accountability partners. Think of them as accountability managers. you know,
Yeah.
but just as accountable as they expect you to be to them, they should be equally as accountable to you.
Yeah.
I have to tell Asia the times that I mess up. She might not even realize it, but I have to, because I'm her mentor. So now I'm responsible for that. I'm going to take that responsibility. You know what I mean? So that's really what you're looking for. And I know you can find that at that school.
Yeah.
That's why we're speaking at St. John's.
Yeah. So this my last question is now that we establish, building a system and everything, how important is it to build a solid foundation, a strong foundation before you launch out to start like another business opportunity or, another business that you want to do?
Well, you could be a jack of all trades, or you could master something, and you could master it so well that it could open up and create opportunities outside of what you're currently doing, right? A lot of the times is people start something and get good at it, and then something comes about where it could potentially make them money or potentially be a potential opportunity, which is the word potential, and they put their energy into that as well. But you can only put your energy into so many places, right? That's where the whole jack of all trades come from. Because it's like you'll be doing 10 different things and you'll be like 30% good at all of those things. But then somebody else will come along that worked on mastering that craft, they'll knock you out the box because you're only 30%. They've been working on that for the last 10 years and they 100%, right? So if you want the business that you currently create to create another opportunity for you, you got to master that business first. And you got to get as much as you can from that business. And then that business will tell you when you need to add or when you need to take away, right? You'll be able to tell from that, from your sales, from those systems that we talked about, from you knowing your numbers and having all your research in front of you. Like, okay, maybe it's time for me to grow my business, or maybe it's time now I have enough funds. I see that I have this system and a team in place, so they handling what I got to handle for the business I created already. So now I can take a couple hours out the day and add a new product to my business. Because you might have to go research that product. You might have to do your due diligence. It might take some time for you to create that new product. So you might need that team and systems in place so that you could think. Now, if you try to do everything simultaneously, that's how you see people fall off. And they forget to do things because you had to go back and handle the first business. So you forgot you went the next day. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you sound like you got it. The questions, the fact that you got up and you asked the questions, you're locked in. We've been on this thing for almost 2 hours. So that means your attention span is not gone yet. Your focus, you know what you want to ask. So you have all the right components right now to create success for yourself. Just don't get too deep into your head, right?
Right.
It's not have to be perfect, right? You seem like the type of person where you want everything perfect before you go into it. And it potentially stop you from creating as well. Work toward perfection, but get it started. You understand what I'm saying? You could spend your whole life planning. It's people that spend their whole life planning and never bring nothing into fruition. They got a bunch in their house, they turn to a herder, and they never bring their dreams to life. Plan up to a certain point, and then have the audacity to take a jump in the ocean of your dreams.
Thank you.
Be fearless.
Yeah.
I actually have a case study of that with my own life, but it's funny because I listen to Gary Vee on social media, on YouTube and on Instagram. And one of the things you say, it's kind of like look up the term analysis paralysis, right? So, you do want to plan, but you don't want to get so much stuck in the planning that you don't do. And another thing is when you embrace the fact that you might fail at something, it's okay. You are not going to die. Your life expectancy is going to remain the same. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be here, so you're going to recover. And there, you need to find people like us who are willing to work with you to help you while you recover, if you even need to at all. You know what I mean? For me, I'm going through exactly what you're asking right now. And this week was hell week for me in a way, because this is actually the last event in the string of events that I'm doing. We had a gallery preview on Saturday. I have other organizations that I'm helping as well. And on Saturday night, I'd come home dog tired. I still had client work to do for my consultancy for Singularity. And Singularity is my baby. That is my child. But
Yeah.
I'd much rather focus on Urban Legacy right now, because that's where I know that I'm going to be able to place my passion. That's where I could spend the time right now to talk to you and say, you know, this is where resources are and everything like that. So I'm literally gauging the question that you're asking right now in real time, you know, and I know that I need to make sure that Singularity is more sustainable on its own, which means, again, here's a failure of mine. That means that I have not in this time empowered enough people to take over that business.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For Urban Legacy, I have a dedicated team right now. Like I said, I promoted Asia from an intern to a director. All you have to do is bring me a program. You got to understand what things take, right?
Yeah.
But for Singularity, I haven't done that yet. And that's my first child. I'm basically telling you that I focused on the younger child and neglected the older one, just like so many people do. You know what I mean? So I'm living out what you're talking about right now. And I need to reinvest in my first child. I need to reinvest and commit more people to that, so I could commit more time to Urban Legacy, my younger child, which gives me the time to empower people that are just like you, because you're just like me.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anne-Marie, Kirrick, and Shane. I just wanted to give everybody one final look at what we have coming up for our Black History Month events. So on February 14th, there will be a historical discussion organized by the Africana Studies Department of History. There will also be a panel on holistic wellness on February 17th. And there will be a book discussion on February 24th. If you'd like any more information about how to register for our events, please visit stjohns.edu/OMA or visit us online on our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you want to learn more about Shane and Kirrick, please also visit urbanlegacy.org, and you can find Kirrick at Kool for Life on Instagram, and we will also link them in our Instagram, so you can find out more about what they do, and you can reach out to them just like they said in this panel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you to Kirrick for coming, because you have no idea, or maybe you do, bro. So many people need the energy that you have. You know what I mean? You wake me up when I need that energy. You know what I mean? Like Asia, thank you for setting this entire relationship up. Again, you know, when we talk about mentors, you also have to find a mentor that values you. I saw the value in Asia from one conversation. That's all it took. And I was like, I see what this woman wants to be able to do. Let's give her the space and opportunity to do so. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Elizabeth. Monique, thank you for your infinite patience. I know y'all have a mentorship opportunity there, because this woman is spectacular. And thank you so much for your patience with me and for the directors throughout my organization. Thank you so much, because it took so much to put this together and we needed to do more. Again, we're going to fully disclose to you when we've messed up, because you have to accept the times that you failed and made mistakes to recover from them. If you're not honest with it, then how can you recover? We promise you, for our event next month, we are going to do so much better and be so much more diligent. And thank you so much, because it's a part of the lesson of the day. So thank you guys for setting this up.
Hi, everyone. Monique Jernigan, she, her, hers. I am who Shane is referring to. Again, I am Assistant Vice President for Equity and Inclusion. I am just coming on just to thank Kirrick and Shane, and especially Asia, for all of their hard work on the back end to put this event together. It's a blessing to meet Kirrick. It's also more of a blessing to have known Asia and have her come to our office and think about how can we bring this kind of programming to St. John's. And I was so grateful to Urban Legacy for their willingness to partner. I want to give another huge shout out to Elizabeth Ponce de Leon, and also Anne-Marie and Paula Sosa, the OMA team members who helped to organize all of today's events. and of course, our entire Heritage Month Council. Thank you, Kirrick, for staying on much longer than you anticipated. We really, really, really appreciate your nuggets. And I call them gold mines, not even nuggets that you just dropped on everybody. It was beautiful. And I look forward to our continued partnership. And so with that being said.
I appreciate you, Queen. Thank you for having me. Could I get like 30 seconds?
Absolutely. And so I'm going to give the final words of the program to Kirrick. Take it away.
Okay, so I always like to leave with a bit of inspiration and motivation. So I'm going to share something that inspired me for a long time. It's from this movie called Coach Carter. I'm going to read it off and then we're going to go about our business. But before I start, peace and blessings to all. Remember that true health is wealth. Believe in yourself under all circumstances. And I'm going to end this off with a couple sentences. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So live your truth, dig deep down inside yourself and know that when you are out there living out your truth, you are definitely inspiring and encouraging somebody else to step outside their comfort zone. Y'all go out there and be great. Y'all make sure y'all stay cool for life. And it was a pleasure. I appreciate y'all. We'll talk soon.